Hello, first graders. Welcome to a new science lesson. Please be a scientist notebook ready and let's start. We still on Unit 3 use energy to communicate, and we're using light and sound for communication. So please open page 85. This is fun activity, performance task, paper cup phone. So this is the materials you need. And we're gonna predict what will happen. So let's see what you need. The materials, meter stick, this is to measure. 1 meter string, 3 meter string, 7 meter strings. So you don't have to really have 1 meter or 3 meters or 7 meters, but at least have different measurements. So one is short, medium, and one is going to be long. You need a pencil, you need paper cups, and need paper clips. All right, I'll be sending a video to show you how to do that, and you can have fun and do it. But to redo that, we need to predict and think how sounds will travel and which string will be clearer or easier to hear and listen. So you will investigate how the length of the string affects sound traveling between the paper cups. So that's why you need to have 3 different measurements of the string, because that's the investigation. We need to find we have one short, we have medium, and we have a longer one. And then we're gonna see, when you try this, have fun and try it with your sibling, your brother, your parents, and see if the sound was clear in all of them, or one is clearer, or one was hard to hear. So make prediction. Which string will make the best sound and why? So this is a prediction you think. You know, yeah, we didn't do it. That's first we're gonna think, oh, I'm thinking that from my, I can predict and think that probably the shortest string will have a better sound or clearer sound, because the sound won't need to travel for far. Like I'm not far from my friend who's using the other cup or the other part of the experiment. So I don't think that being far away is just a small or short string. So I'll be hearing and the sound or understanding the sound probably clearer and easier than if I'm using a 3 meter or 7 meter string. So that's prediction. So I could be wrong, I could be right. So this is what we're gonna put first, and then when we do the experiment, we'll have the right information. So let's say, you can say, I think the shortest string will have a better sound or clearer sound, because the sound won't have to travel so far. Easily. Oops. Have to travel. So I'm closer to my friend or my brother than if I used 3 meter or 7 meters string. All right, so that's a prediction. All right, carry out an investigation. So we need to know what we have to do when we have this one. So measure each string with the meter stick. Put the strings in order from shortest to longest, and then push one string through the holes of the paper cups. So one cup is on each end of the string. So I'm telling you how to do it. And you're gonna have 3 sizes or 3 different sizes lengths for the strings. So you're gonna have the shortest one, and then you're gonna you make a hole in the paper cups, and then use the thread on one end and use the other end for the other cup, and you made a knot. So this is gonna like a phone. Like, so using a phone to talk and listen to each other. So this is like you're making a telephone. So that would be with that shortest string. And then take notes. Was it clear? Was it easy to understand and listen and hear what your friends say or what your siblings say, your brother or sister? And then repeat the same methods using the second length, that probably if you have it 3 meters, and then repeat again using the longest string, the 7 meters. All right. As I said, you don't have to go with 1 meter, 3 meters, or 7 meters. You don't have to go that long, but make sure that you have 3 different measurements. So you have a short one, and then another string that is longer, and then a third one that's the longest. All right. Okay, now we need to record your data. So over here, you need to say what you get, or what you observe, or what did you recognize. So I did this before, and we did it in a class, and we know that that the shortest, the telephone we made with using the paper cup with the shortest string was the clearest and the easiest one to listen and hear. So let's see. What was the length of the shortest string you used? What was the length of the longest string you used? So as I said, if you're following the measurements here, so you're going to say the shortest one is the 1 meter string, and then the longest one is the 7 meter string. But if you're using different measurements or different lengths, so you will be putting here what was your shortest string length and what was the longest one. But let's say we're gonna use that measurement that we have it here in the materials to do that project in that material box. So we're gonna say that we used what we have here. So let's say the shortest string was the 1 meter, and the longest string was the 7 meter. All right, so that's simple. All right. Number 2, draw conclusions. So that's mean, tell us what did you get? What was your result? So how did the different lengths of strings affect the phone and communication? Remember, we're using 3 different lenses. We have 1 meter, 3 meters, and 7 meters. So what do you think? How did this different lenses affect the phone and the communication? As we see, I know when I use the, say, put it this way, when the strings were long, was it harder to hear because you're far away from the other side. But when the strings were short, as we see, it was clearer or easier to hear the sound. All right? So that's why you need to use different lenses of strings. Okay, let's go for number 3. Design a solution. How could you make your paper cup phone better? Draw a model of your improved phone, label the materials you would use. So now we think and we thought that using a shorter string make the sound easier and I can hear easier and clearer. But having a longer or long strings was hard to hear. So how you design this, or how can you do something like that? So we need to, in this box, you need to draw the solution. And we can say, for example, when you draw, you have to make sure you write the labeling. So you should say paper cup phone, and then this is the labels, the materials you use. And then you could, for example, say, I might use the different type of strings, like maybe not cotton, maybe wool, maybe plastic. So that would be trying to see, it might come with better solution, like, you know, design a solution, like we have to find an answer now. Okay, we find out that the shorter strings was clearer or was easier to hear. So how can we fix this, or how can we come up with a solution for that little problem? Okay, so I might use different materials or different string, or I might use a shorter string. Yeah, I noticed that 1 meter was kind of long or wasn't clear enough, so I might go for even shorter than that. Or I'm not going to use wool, I'm going to use cotton, or I'm going to use plastic string that I can make it probably different or easier to hear. Or you find out that no, actually what you used first was better. Okay, let's go for the essential question. How do we use light and sound to communicate? Think about the photo of the lighthouse at the beginning of the lesson. Use what you have learned to tell how people communicate using light and sound. Remember in the beginning of the lesson when we saw the lighthouse, we had in the first page we had that the two kids were using the tin can message, and we didn't understand what's going on, but we know that yes, if you have a string and if it's shorter, you'll be able to hear your friend from the other side. We also now learned that people use light and sound to communicate, and we saw an examples for things in our life that we use every day using light and sounds, or lights only or sounds only, such as the computer or traffic lights that use light. We know sounds such as doorbell or radio, and we know the devices can use both light and sound, like a police car, television, or alarm clock. We also learned that the reason for people sometimes use both sounds and light, because they both have a big help and support, and can warn people, can help people to communicate, and can save people from dangers, like the smoke detector, for example. All right, so we need to put some of all what we cover for this lesson over here. So we can say that we use sound to communicate and pass information to each other. So that's when we talk. People listen, or if I clap, that's a way of communication using sounds. Or if I use a whistle, or I, using sound and ear to hear each other. And we also learned that we use lights and sounds to get people attention. Like the ambulance or fire truck, or police cars, all this use both sirens and flashing light, and also to warn people from dangers like the smoke detector, for example. And warn people of danger. All right. So that was our answer for the essential question: how do we use light and sound to communicate? And that was the lesson for today, that people use light and sound to communicate, and we saw different examples, different devices that use both sounds and light, and what's how this helpful for us to use. Okay, that's it for today, first graders. Thank you. Bye bye.